Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.
Hey guys, Amber here with the Meeple family, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's video is all about solo board gaming, and I am going to be giving you my top 10 plays or most played games during the month of August. Now, I'm just going to preface this right away with letting you know August was a crazy month. In addition to it being the start of the school year, which for those that don't know, I homeschool our 4 kids, which was crazy. I've got 2 in junior high this year, which is like a whole nother level of intensity that I really kind of took me by surprise. And then I'm also teaching my last child to read, which is just like the best feeling in the world, almost as good as potty training and not having diapers anymore. I'm getting that same feeling from having my last kid be on the reading train, and I am super psyched. But with all that being said, that is kind of going to lay a foundation for the types of games I was able to play during August. If you haven't already, I would love to have you subscribe to our channel and be sure to give this video a thumbs up. That always helps our channel grow and we appreciate it so much. Let's get into this top 10 solo board gaming real life mom edition. Let's get started with my actually number 1 play of the month of August was Cat Lady, which is crazy because you're probably thinking that's not a solo game, Amber. That is a 2 to 4 player game. And you are correct, it is. Except if you download the app, you can play solo, and that is what I did a lot in August. Now, I'm not typically a huge advocate of playing an app-driven board game like this. I'd rather have the physical copy on the table. But for this particular game, it works really well because the gameplay is so simplistic, and the AI really, you just need that AI player or that opponent player to just be clearing cards from the display area, which the app does great. So this still was giving me the feel like I was playing Cat Lady and I got that same gameplay experience, although it was on an app, which for my life in August worked really well because I've kind of taken on the hat of like traveling soccer mom and kind of living on the sidelines of like my kids' events. So if they're in like music lessons or something like that, I can just like pull out my phone, get in a board game play, and that is really good for my soul. So actually Cat Lady was the game I played most during the month of August, just I think because of the sheer fact that it's so convenient when it's on a mobile device like that. And the gameplay is just like quick and easy. I could get a whole game in maybe like 10 minutes. So I just played a lot of games of Cat Lady. So up to this point, being August, I had never played Cat Lady. I had only played Dog Lover, which I love Dog Lover. And I know there's a ton of like legit Cat Lady fans. So I was really excited to actually try this one out. And I will say the gameplay for Cat Lady is great. I love the artwork. I love the cards. I love like the toys and all the little things that they made unique in Cat Lady. But I will say the gameplay for Dog Lover is just like a little bit better because of the way that you can implement these dog tricks and like you can take cards from the marketplace a little bit differently. Regardless of, you know, whether you like Dog Lover or Cat Lady better, I was really excited to be able to get to play this solo. And, you know, though it didn't hit my table, it did hit my mobile device. And I'm going to count that for the month of August because it was a little bit crazy. All right, second on my list here is Kingswood. So this is actually a game I picked up from Gen Con, which yes, I do owe you guys like a video from Gen Con, but I feel like the further I get from Gen Con, the harder it is for me to make the Gen Con video because I'm like, oh my word, it's been like a month. I can't make a video. You know, it's like when you go too long without saying something to a friend and then you're like, oh, I don't even know how to talk to them about this anymore. That's how I'm feeling about Gen Con. So if you guys still want a Gen Con video, please leave that in the comments. If you're like, we've moved on because we've watched like 80 other Gen Con videos and we're over it, that's fine. Don't even tell me. I just like, we'll just ignore each other like it never happened. But if you do want a Gen Con video, let me know in the comments. But anyway, like I was saying, I actually picked up from Gen Con and I was talking to the guy about it and I was like, wow, this sounds so great. This sounds like kind of a game like my kids would love. Well, of course, my kids absolutely love this game. It has kind of this rondelle mechanic and I've got more coverage on this game coming out later in the month because I seriously love it. I think the artwork is stellar. I love the components and I love the gameplay. I feel like it's such a great like entry-level rondel family game, and it plays quick. It doesn't overstay its welcome. There's a lot of variety. So I'm excited to share more about this in the future, but I was able to play this solo as well. And basically in this game, you are trying to earn favor from the king, and you're like fighting these monsters in the forest to defend the village, and the village allows you to collect resources in order to fight the monsters. So they all kind of work together really well. And like I said, I will have more on this later in the month, and I'm even gonna do a solo playthrough so you can get an idea of how it plays as well. All right, next on my list, I actually have this one out right here. It's Luna Capital, and holy cow, this was on my shelf of shame for way too long because this game is awesome. So first of all, I'm really realizing that I do love a space theme. It sucks me in every time. So this does have like a soft space theme. I wouldn't say it's like really heavy, like it's just kind of subtle. And in this game, you are collecting tiles, and it really is just like a set collection tile placement game at the end of the day. But if you enjoy those, this is really fun. So the AI on Luna Capital is actually really easy to run. It's basically like Cat Lady, where you just need that opponent player to come in and remove some of the selection options from the marketplace. Now, I will say the way the AI scores is that at the end of the game, all of those tiles they've accumulated from the various rounds are added up as if they earned every single tile type. So it can be quite difficult to beat them just depending on what tiles you allow them to take. And so there's some strategy that comes in there, knowing if I take this grouping of tiles, they're gonna get a lot of this type and be able to beat me in that specific tile type. So that is Luna Capital, and this is typically a 1 to 4 player game, so it does have that versatility of player count, and I really did enjoy the solo option of this. And it sat on my shelf of shame for far too long. All right, this one I do not have with me. I actually took it on a trip and I have not unpacked it yet, and that is Santa Monica. So the theme for Santa Monica is kind of like you're in a beach town and you have these cards. It's card drafting and you're building out a tableau display. What do you know, guys? I love these games. I'm such a sucker for them. So I finally got Santa Monica and I was able to play it, and I actually took it with me on vacation, which we went to like a lake beach area. And so it was really fun to come back at the end of the day and I would play this one in the hotel room, which I really enjoyed. Now, this game had a pretty cool twist to it in that you have meeples that you're putting on your cards, and they're trying to get to different places kind of based on scoring objectives and, you know, also depending on the cards that you're drafting into your display area. This one really reminded me of like other flat out games I had played. I know this wasn't a flat out game, but if you think of like the flat out games where there's so many different avenues to score and there's so many different options, like, oh, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? I could put my meeples here. I could get sand dollars and I could exchange those. There's a lot to think about and consider and choose from every turn. And you definitely don't have like one track to victory. You can decide what strategy you want to take to earn the most points. Now, I just got this game and I've only played it solo, and I think I probably played about 6 games of it solo. So I was really getting in a nice rhythm of gameplay. I am really interested to see how this game actually plays multiplayer. So I don't know like how the experience is multiplayer versus solo, but I really enjoyed myself. And honestly, I think part of the reason I enjoyed this game so much is like we were at the beach and I was able to play this beach themed game. So it was kind of like a perfect match. But outside of like being at a beach and like this just being such a great like themed board game while we're at the beach, I don't know. I'm interested to see how much more this will hit my table because I wasn't like wowed by the gameplay, but I enjoyed it. And I did feel like it gave me a lot of options to think about. And I definitely want to try it multiplayer to see how true the solo experience was to the way the game is intended to play, which I believe is 2 to 4 players. So yeah, I will be putting that on my to-do list for the month of September. All right, next up is Guild of Merchant Explorers. I've really enjoyed getting this one to the table solo. It's just so relaxing. I feel like you can only do so much on your turn, but as the turns progress and you get later into the game, there's tons of comboing that happens. And even though I keep getting this to the table, I just enjoy it. Like, I just enjoy it. I like the aesthetics of that game. It's very like neutral and calming and muted, and I enjoy that. And I've talked about Guild of Merchant Explorers a lot, so I won't go into detail more than to let you know that it did hit my table quite a few times in August. One of my new favorite games to play solo is Wormholes. I do have a solo playthrough coming out in the next few weeks, and I just have really fallen in love with this game. So if you're not familiar with Wormholes, I have put out a how to play if you you want to check that out. But basically, this is a pick up and deliver game. You're drawing passenger cards and you need to get your spaceship to the matching planet to drop off those passengers. The thing that makes this difficult is that you only have like 3 moves you can make. So you have to utilize wormholes that you place throughout the board to help give you these free actions so you can make the most of your turn. I absolutely love the flow of this game solo. Though I will say with more people, it can be really fun because there's more wormholes on the board and you're racing to get things. And the way that the space station is set up in a multiplayer game is really fun too, where it's kind of like a penalty if you draw from the space station area, which is like the discard pile in the solo variant, because if you take from the space station, the AI actually earns points. So there is definitely some change in the gameplay, but I really enjoy the flow of gameplay. So similar to what I was saying about Luna Capital, I'm finding that I'm very drawn to space themes, and of course wormholes is definitely a space theme. And I think the table presence of this one is spectacular, so I always love getting this one out. So all that to say, I love wormhole, I love space themes, and this one got to my table a lot in August. So next up on my list is a game that I was really intimidated to actually get on the table, and that was Gutenberg. So I finally was able to try this one out solo. Why was I so intimidated to get this to the table? It's actually a very simple game, and it's nothing you need to be afraid of. I think when I saw like the spinning gears, I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I was like, what? How's that gonna work? And the letter tiles, it just looked like a lot. And in reality, it's actually done very systematically and very well. Now, this is one I have not had the opportunity to play multiplayer, but I love the solo variant of this game. I have played this a lot because it's one of those games like when you have it out, you just kind of want to keep playing it because it's all out and set up and you have everything where you want it. And it's just once it's out, you're gonna play it. So I played this one like back to back to back, and I was having so much fun. The gameplay on this one, I think I enjoyed so much because like I was saying, it's very systematic. Like you do this, and then you pick here, and then you go here. And so you're always making these choices to try to obviously work against the AI and make sure you're not setting them up to win. But also there's a lot of randomness in not knowing what the AI is gonna select. This one too, like I love games that have history in them. Like I've talked to you guys about Watergate and how much I love that. And this is like right there. When I found out about this game and just the history of it and the theme of it, I was like, okay, this is one I definitely want to get. And I was so happy to finally, kind of break through that barrier I was having with like, oh, is this game going to be like too complex and like too much? But it's really not. And I am looking forward to doing a tutorial on it because that's one of the things I love about tutorials. And what I try to do is really simplify the gameplay and make sure it's not so intimidating to get to the table, because I was feeling really intimidated by this one for some reason, and it is really, really fun gameplay. So Gutenberg is one I got to the table quite a bit in August. Next up, one of my absolute favorite games, and I have talked about this one as well, is Red Cathedral. Now, I just played the base game this month. I didn't even get out the Contractors expansion, which I love, and I have talked to people about like, oh, do you need to get the expansion? It looks so cool. It's so awesome. I love Red Cathedral so much at its base game. I don't think you need the expansion. But the expansion is great if you play this game often and you just want more. You want more variety, you want more gameplay options, then absolutely. But if you are satisfied with the base game, I would just keep chugging along with the base game because I love Red Cathedral. I think this is probably one of my top favorite all-time games. I love the mechanics of this game, and it's also like such a pleasant game to teach because I feel like everything makes sense. The iconography, the gameplay decisions are really quite simple, but it still offers so much strategy where you're still thinking, but you're not like paralyzed with so many options. And I really enjoy that. This game is done so well. I love playing the solo variant of this. I feel like it's so easy to operate, and it again gives you that fluidity in gameplay, and I still feel like I played a game of Red Cathedral even though I was playing by myself. All right, moving right along, my next game I played was actually an app game, and I guess you could say I kind of double-handed it, similar to what I do with Paleo when I play that, was Takenoko. So I have never actually played this game. This was the first time I was ever able to play this game, was actually on the app, and I, like I said, played double-handed, so I played 2 different people. This game really won me me over. So first of all, with the app, there's music in the background, which totally sets like the theme and ambiance. I feel like I'm really there, like with the gardener and with the panda, and we're building things and we're irrigating things and we're growing bamboo. I just felt like I was in it. When in reality, my kids were in swimming lessons. But in that moment, I felt like I was a gardener and I was growing bamboo and feeding my panda. Anyway, this is a really adorable game, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed playing this several times in August. It was either Cat Lady or this one that I was kind of playing back and forth when I was out and about. Gameplay on the app is done really well. They have like a lot of animation and different things that happen when the storms come in or the wind blows or the sun comes out. It's very cute, very fun. So if you guys haven't tried the app version of this, I highly recommend it, but I don't know that I would ever play the app multiplayer because you would literally like be handing the device back and forth. So I just played double-handed, like I said, and played the 2 different players, and I enjoyed that as a solo experience. All right, last up on my list is Sprawlopolis. So like I said, this month was crazy, and I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. And this is very much like a realistic list of games I'm able to play solo. And one of those was Sprawlopolis because it's a tiny wallet game. We did have some traveling we did this month as well. So in addition to the launch of the new school year, we also were out of town a little bit, and Sprawlopolis, Santa Monica, and then of course my app games were really great for traveling. I really enjoyed it. So I always like to keep a couple of those wallet games on hand, and I usually have them thrown in my purse. And one of my favorite things to do is like when we're at a restaurant or we're waiting for our food or we're just out and about somewhere sitting and relaxing, I have a little wallet game I can pull out and, you know, put on the table and play. So I always enjoy that. Well guys, that is the end of my mom list for solo games for the month of August. Very real life here. Though I was still able to get a few meatier games to the table, August was definitely a little bit lighter of a month because I just had a lot going on, and that's just the reality of board game lovers. Sometimes we can get so many gameplays in, while other months you just need those lighter games to carry you through, and that's how I definitely felt about August. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I would love to hear what games you got to the table. Like, what were your top plays for August, and what games are you excited to get to the table for September? It's a brand new month, a brand new start, and I am really excited to see what September holds. Well, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me, and I look forward to communicating with you and chatting with you throughout the month of September. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you later.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.